So today I will talk about certain comments that usually imply that I'm very negative about Germany or German forces in Second World War in general, and that I have a very negative viewpoint on them. And I think this comes down to a cultural difference, mainly between the United States and Europe, especially Germany and Austria. Now, the thing is, in Austria and Germany, we tend to focus on more negative things or on errors and correcting errors. Whereas I think the United States is way more into encouraging positive aspects. So basically we use the stick and you use the carrot. And this is reflected in many different ways. I think one is the phrase, I think in the United States is quite or was quite common, one day you can become president. We don't have the equivalent of that in any way in Germany or Austria. And recently I talked with a few friends from Germany and Austria about this, and I proposed the Austrian-German version for this. And I think it would be not one day you can president, but if you don't do your homework, you will end up as a bum in the streets. We don't say this explicitly, but basically this is how we treat our children and are treated in school mainly. This might have changed in the last few years, but I think it's still rather similar. And I have, of course, this is mainly anecdotal reference and my personal viewpoint since I lived in Austria and Germany and worked in both environments and went to school and university here. But there was also this Canadian grandmother who had a grandson in Austria, and she basically said about the education methods of her stepson, only negative stroking. So then I also talked with an American with I think a German heritage about this, and he pointed out it's not only about negative stuff, it's that the German way is more analytical. And so you will point out more negative stuff or more errors. Whereas the US way is more emotional. So you're going more for the encouraging part. And this is also the thing. I don't talk about stuff usually which was done well. And this is the same also, I think, in university and at school. They will tell you 90% of the time what you did wrong and only about 10% of the time what you did well. And they will mention it about the same time expansion. If you do something right, why explain what you did right? It was correct. This was good. This was good. This was very good. This was very good. So, but here you fucked up, and you fucked up because and then there comes a list. And in the end, you might have a B or even A, but the part that was very good will be mentioned for like a few seconds and the other part a few minutes. But it's just, we're about getting the stuff right. So this is something which is also reflected in my videos. I basically don't really care too much what was done well. I mentioned it usually, this was very effective on a technical level. The Germans were very good in the beginning and everything. But on a strategic level, this went wrong, this went wrong, this. So it comes down to this. I mean, you could say we are not too focused on that we lost the last war. We are more considered about winning the next one. But I didn't say that. So, and on a side note, this is also reflected with one very great Austrian, and I usually don't use the word great, but for Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it completely applies. And he also makes it very clear that he wasn't born in America, but he was made there. And there's actually an interview, which I'll link in the description, where he talks about the influence of his father on him and this negativity that fueled him. And this is very important to understand if you watch my videos or also talk with Germans or Austrians, that we usually have a different approach to stuff. This is different focus and culture. We are not the encouraging types. This changed in the last few years a bit, but we are more, get stuff right and everything is fine. We are not going to tell you, you did well. You will also notice this if you have ever a public speaking event in Europe, that most people will just stare at you. And in the end, they will applaud. but the feedback during the conversation, during the speaking, might be quite discouraging. I think Timothy Ferris noted this actually, that he shared a video, I think, of a speech in the Netherlands or something, and people know on Twitter, oh, they were all quite negative, and he said, well, afterwards they were very positive, but you can't see this in their expressions when you're watching your speech. And also, most people won't come up and tell you did a great speech. This is also quite uncommon. We had one colleague at university, and he said he was in America, and if he did a speech there, everyone was coming, oh, and it was really great and everything. Yeah, in Austria, it doesn't happen. I don't know what you have to do that this happens, but probably the professor will tell you, but nobody of the students will tell you that you did a great speech usually. So this is how stuff is different, and this of course reflects in my videos and also in Bismarck's and other videos from German or Austrian creators. It's not that we just hate everything from Germany or Austria. Of course, I should add, on the military side, the Second World War could have a certain influence, so there's a rather negative view on the military in general and on military history. This is without question, but the whole culture is also quite different. So, and I think Bismarck and I are, for Austrian and German standards, rather positive about the military and military history. I mean, we do this stuff. There's basically one professor position in Germany for military history, and it's called, I think, Military History and the Culture of Violence. And I think it took ages that they have even one position for a professor in Germany in this way. So if people complain that we have a negative view, well, please wake up and visit our country. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.